In this video, we'll be diving into Chapter 5 of A Course in Miracles, Healing and Wholeness. If you're new here, hello, my name is Kaylee. I'm a clinical hypnotist as well as a student and teacher of A Course in Miracles. And what I like to do here is to dive into the course and help make it make sense, bringing these complex terms into tangible reality. So this video today is going to be all about Chapter 5, diving into what it means to heal, what it means to allow Holy Spirit to guide your life. This specific video is taken from a discussion from my school community group called Heaven on Earth Academy. Inside of there, we have live discussions, live calls every single week, an engaged community, and I also provide embodiment practices such as hypnosis and breathwork so that you're not only reading the course, but actually experiencing it on a cellular level. If any of that sounds exciting to you, feel free to join. It is 100% free as of now while I'm still building it. It'll be included in a link down below as well as a link in my bio. Otherwise, enjoy this video. Today is going to be about Chapter 5, Healing and Wholeness. To kind of give the lay of the land, what I'll be doing here is I'm going to go through like a little bit of a teaching. I'm just going to teach a lot about Chapter 5. I really like to pull from the text, read the text out loud. I'll drop the text that I'm reading in the chat if you're a more visual learner. And then kind of dissect it. I find that it's sometimes can get a little bit dense or confusing inside of A Course in Miracles. So I really want to make it livable and easy to understand. And then after I'm done with the whole teaching, then we can open up the floor for discussion. So I invite you, if you have any questions or just comments that come up while I'm talking, you can jot them down, you can write them in the chat, you could journal them, whatever feels good to you. Otherwise, do what you like. If you want to take notes or just be present and listen. I'm really excited about today. Kate gave me like I read Chapter 5 a long time ago, but I don't usually read the chapter again until right before. And so Kate was like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited for you to read Chapter 5. And I can see why. There is like so much goodness and so much richness in this chapter. And I'm just going to really frame the chapter before we dive into it with a question that I think sums up A Course in Miracles in general so well, but especially Chapter 5. And it's, would you rather be right or be happy? I don't know if you've ever heard that before. Oops, one second. My dog just came in. If you've ever heard that phrase before, would you rather be right or be happy? But I'm starting to realize that's the entire teaching of A Course in Miracles, is that you just always choose happiness. And in Chapter 5, it's really getting at happiness is your only responsibility. Like you're here to be happy and to experience joy. And for a long time in the kind of realm of spirituality and like learning emotions and emotional resilience, I felt that pull of like, I think that we're just supposed to be happy. But there is a huge part of me that's like, oh my gosh, is that spiritual bypassing? Like, no, we're supposed to experience the depth of all of our emotions and have the human experience. And all of that can be true, and the goal is still happiness. Like that's still the end goal, like to achieve and to be happy. And when I think of it clearly, it's like everyone does want to be happy. I think it's taken like an evolution of my own consciousness to understand that yeah, we experience the depth of all the emotions, but ultimately we experience them to return back to this one place. And so I want to describe Chapter 5 in terms of like, we're going to get at what is the goal of what A Course in Miracles says means to be human. What is the mechanism in achieving it? What is the outcome of it? And then how are we tangibly going to do it? So Chapter 5 talks a lot about joy. Joy says to heal is to make happy. Like so simply put, to heal is to make happy. And I think it's really important to understand here that this goal to be happy is exactly what God wills for us. And I'm going to dive into this and explore this further, but essentially, the reason why God wills us to be happy is because ultimately we want us to be all working together. We want us like to be working in unison to have a natural and easy life. And when we're happy, like when I'm happy, I can speak for this very clearly. The last 2 days I've been really happy. I want to be of service. I'm so excited to show up for this. I'm so excited to create new ideas. When we're happy, we want to show up for others. We have the energy, we have the capacity to show up for others. And so our only responsibility then is to be happy. And the rest comes from it. Your direction, your clarity, whatever it is that you are meant to do in your life will show up as a natural byproduct of happiness. And I just want to add this quick little reminder here. This sentence says, "You are being blessed by every beneficent thought of any of your brothers anywhere. You should want to bless them in return out of gratitude." This is I'll drop it in the chat. One of my favorite premises of A Course in Miracles because it really describes the one mind. We are but one mind, which means that anyone that's thinking happy thoughts, like April freaking killing it this week, playing the best day ever every single day, blessed so many people because we are but one mind. And I think that's something it's so easy to get lost in our own thoughts of like, oh, my unworthiness. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to be able to figure this out. And I think we're okay with it when it's about ourselves. But this sentence really reminds us like it's never just about ourselves. The thoughts that you are condemning yourself in, you're also condemning your brothers in. And so the person that's struggling on the other side is struggling even more because of the quality of your thoughts. But when you choose these happy thoughts, when you choose thoughts of love, you're also creating this peace and fulfillment and joy within other people. So I will just always throw that in because I think it's like it's so powerful to realize how much power we have in creating harmony and peace in the world just by choosing our thoughts. Okay, now I want to get into the Holy Spirit. So I really want us to walk away with like a deep understanding of the Holy Spirit and what is the quality, what are the qualities, what is the character of the Holy Spirit, and essentially how is the Holy Spirit going to help us achieve this happiness? Okay. The sentence says that the Holy Spirit is the spirit of joy. He is the call to return with which God blessed the minds of separated sons. Okay, one more time. The Holy Spirit is the spirit of joy. He is the call to return with which God blessed the minds of separated sons. So, A Course in Miracles describes how, though we are separated, the Holy Spirit is the healing that God was like, hey, I know you guys are gonna like be little silly geese and like separate yourselves and create the separation between you and I, but I'm going to insert Holy Spirit so that we can be in communication with one another. Reason being is because God is just ultimate knowledge. And because we are not existing in ultimate knowledge, we are perceiving an illusion and we perceive God. We need the Holy Spirit to be like our middle ground. Holy Spirit's like, hey, you believe in illusion, that's okay, but I'm going to use this illusion to show you that it's actually God, like that God is actually in this. This section says that the voice of the Holy Spirit does not command because it is incapable of arrogance. It does not demand because it does not seek control. It does not overcome because it does not attack. It merely reminds. Okay, this is like the really important piece here because it's describing how the Holy Spirit is not going to come in and be like, no, you can't do this, or like completely like insert fear into your life. The Holy Spirit does not insert fear or lack or anything to scare you away from anything. It does not command, demand, or even overcome. its only responsibility is to remind you of who you are truly, a soul. You are a soul, one connected with the all-powerful source of all that is. And when you remember that, your thoughts go from, oh, I'm not going to be able to make it happen. This isn't meant for me. I'm scared they're thinking this of me, to, oh yeah, I'm safe. In my defenselessness, I am safe. I need nothing or no one to remember this safety. It's simply the reminder. This was reminding me too of what Kate mentioned of earlier, of having that voice in your head reminding you, right? Just reminding you, hey, you're perfect as you are right now. Like, I'm with you right now. Okay. Now this next one's a little bit long, but I really want this one to sink in so deeply, because this too is reminding us of the power of our minds. Truly, the power of our minds. Says, whatever you accept into your reality, into your mind, has reality for you. It is, however, only your acceptance of it that makes it real. If you enthrone your ego in it, the fact that you have accepted it or allowed it to enter makes it your reality. This is because the mind, as God created it, is capable of creating reality. We said before that you must learn to think with God. To think with him is to think like him. This engenders joy, not guilt, because it is natural. Guilt is a sure sign that your thinking is unnatural. Perverted thinking will always be attended with guilt because it is the belief in sin. Okay, a little bit long, but I just want to give like a rough draft of what that really means. So it's saying that whatever you accept in your mind has reality for you. The perfect example of this is, oh my gosh, I'm not going to be able to make it work. And thinking thoughts, imagining how you're not going to be able to make it work, how you're not going to be able to accomplish that thing. When you accept that in your mind, you make it a reality for you. But it's only your acceptance of it that makes it real. So our ego would like to have us think, no, I'm just thinking those thoughts because I'm thinking realistic. Realistically, that's a potential outcome. And it's not true. It is not a potential outcome unless we accept it in our minds. So this is what it means by, if you enthrone your ego in it, the fact that you have accepted it or allowed it to enter makes it your reality. So when we allow our ego, which is like, simply put, thoughts of fear, to enthrone our mind, we begin to accept these fears as true, thus creating that in our life. So this is because the mind, as God created it, is capable of creating reality. So this is the whole point of this. This is like really points back to manifestation too. Like, we have powerful minds. We can create reality with our minds. We can create really bad outcomes with our minds. We can create really good outcomes with our mind. We can make our own reality, which is so, so beautiful. And this is why it's like, this is getting at it, so utterly important to think with the mind of God, which just means think like God. When I hear that, I think WWJD, like, what would Jesus do? Like, what would Jesus be thinking about in this situation? You know, would Jesus be like, oh no, she hates me, like she's gonna be so upset with me? Or would Jesus be concerned about a relationship? Or would Jesus be concerned about being able to take that next step in your business or in your pursuit of happiness or passion? Would Jesus be concerned about that? And the truth is no, because that correct next step would feel obvious, because Jesus would know it comes directly from God, thinking with the mind of God. It says this engenders joy, not guilt, because it is natural. This, going back to like the whole point of it, is joy. When we think with the mind of God, our only outcome is joy. And that's our natural state. Our natural state is joy. And anytime we are not there, it's demonstrating, okay, we're thinking with the ego mind. It says guilt is a sure sign that your thinking is unnatural. Perverted thinking will always be attended with guilt because it is the belief in sin. I think it's really, really important to recognize, like, when are we thinking with fear and when are we thinking with love? And though it seems so overly simplified, that is what we need. We need to be so overly simplified because the ego loves confusion, loves confusion. Any way to make you think, no, 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 I'm still right about this, but there is a little bit of fear, but it's right fear. You should be fear. No, that's still the ego trying to confuse you and make you create this reality that's actually not serving you or God, the higher power. I think the thing that really stands out to me about this one is that we can actually exist in this level of peace and happiness. I, for a really long time, when I heard stuff like this, I was like, no, I didn't believe that. I didn't believe that it's actually possible because of how often I experience, these dips of like highs and lows, and I'm frustrated and I'm not. So then I started to believe, maybe it is just like we're supposed to experience the range of human emotions, and that's the whole point of life, is to experience the whole range. And after A Course in Miracles, I've shifted my beliefs again of like, yeah, we are meant to experience the whole range of human emotions, but that's actually not the whole point. The point is that we can experience more joy more often if we are willing to allow the Holy Spirit to rearrange our perspective, to allow us to see how we can choose love more and more often, and understanding that our brains are neuroplastic, that the more that we believe in a certain way, the more that we create that reality, means that literally choosing peace, choosing love more often begins to create a new reality. This part really excites me because it gets at like, what is our true potential? Like, what is really possible for us? Says, it is possible even in this world to hear only that voice and no other. It takes effort and great willingness to learn. It is the final lesson that I learned, and God's sons are as equal as learners as they are souls. Oh my God. Such a cool book. Such a cool book. It is possible to hear only that voice and no other. It is possible to only hear the voice of love. And it does say it takes effort and great willingness to learn. I love that too. Love the honesty here. Like, yeah, it takes work. It takes effort to choose over and over again. It says, Jesus speaking here says, it is the final lesson that I learned. And God's sons are as equal as learners as they are souls, meaning we, as God's son, Jesus was God's son. We are equal as learners. We have the same mind. We have the same capacity. We have the same extension of love, which is what it means to be God's son. So we have the same capacity to experience that ultimate peace and that love that Jesus came to demonstrate, to show us like, hey, this is possible. I'm literally going to die on a cross to demonstrate that I'm not my body, that I'm just this soul that is experiencing this everlasting love and peace, and you can have this too. It says, my mind will always be like yours because we are created as equals. It was only my decision that gave me the power in heaven and earth. My only gift to you is to help you make the same decision for yourself. And this is like the entire lesson of A Course in Miracles. Like, hey, I'm telling you that you can do this. You can make this same decision for yourself. I'm gonna take a drink of water for a second. I think it's really cool too to find people who are emanating this in reality too. Like, I think Eckhart Tolle is a great example of this. David Hoffmeister, who's a teacher of A Course in Miracles, like really emanates this like peace, you know. I mean, there's so many people who I feel like we've seen of and heard, but just getting to see that it is a reality literally creates a subconscious blueprint in your mind. Like, hey, it's just like the way that I describe it is like the 4 minute mile, you know? No one ran the 4 minute mile for however long, and then one person ran the 4 minute mile. And immediately after, everyone started running, not everyone, but like very Olympians and people running that fast already started breaking the 4 minutes because they just, as soon as your subconscious knows, oh, this is a possibility, you can create neural pathways to make it your reality. And that's what Jesus came to show us. Hey, you can do this. And, you know, these people that are achieving this, I'm sure there's so many like monks and spiritual teachers that I don't even know about that are achieving this and existing in it. But the more that we talk about even this, the more that we talk about like this is real, this can happen, the more that our brain goes, oh, wait, okay, let's find a way then. That can happen for us, then let's go for it. Um, Now I really want to get at like the mechanism of like how to make this very tangible in reality. And A Course in Miracles says, um, what does it say on the front actually? Oh, it says manual for teachers at the back. And at first I was like, oh, I'm not a teacher. When I first started reading it, I'm like, I don't know what that means, but that's not for me. I then realized that Course in Miracles defines teachers in a different way. It's not necessarily people that are teaching A Course in Miracles like I'm teaching you in this moment. There's a definition here that says teaching is done in many ways by formal means, by guidance, and above all, by example. Teaching is therapy because it means the sharing of ideas and the awareness that to share them is to strengthen them. The way to achieve this love and peace within is through teaching. That's why they talk about teaching so often. And it does not mean I'm telling you about A Course in Miracles, listen to this course, or here's this lesson that I learned from. It can be that. I'm physically teaching this right now, but it says above all by example. We are meant to teach A Course in Miracles, teach atonement, teach forgiveness, teach unconditional love by example. And when we share those ideas, we strengthen them. Really simply put, I want to give just like a straight example to this. I think one that many of us can understand would be, say your partner or someone that you know does something wrong. Maybe they're even mean to you. Maybe they say mean words to you or say something rude that makes you feel hurt. In that moment, teaching just means, oh man, I bet you they're coming from like a scared place right now. I bet you that's their ego that's talking. I know that their soul is pure. I'm willing to forgive them for this and speak to their soul. And so that could just be like, hey, are you okay? Instead of defending. Why are you being so mean to me? I can't believe that you would say something like that to me. Hey, are you okay right now? I just like you don't usually act like this with me, and I feel like something might be going on. And like immediately the heart opens, their chest softens. I mean, I can't say immediately, because I'm not for certain. It might take a few more sentences or however long. But ultimately, when you show up in love, genuinely seeing the wholeness in another, it is absolutely inevitable for their defenses to eventually come down and their heart to open. And it might not be like within conversation, you know, they might not like open up to you, but they're going to feel different around you. They're going to feel like, wow, I don't think that like she's judging me in the way that I thought that she was. And what happens in relationships is it begins to be really hard for the other person to project onto you. When your defenses don't come up and you are just like wide open like this, they try to shoot at you, like, it's your fault, it's your fault. But if you're wide open, they can't shoot at you anymore. And why this encompasses the healing of the world is when people stop having the capacity to shoot at you, to project their anger and their fear onto you, what does it force them to do? They have to realize, oh my gosh, this is me. Because like that person forgives me, that person loves me. So why am I so angry? If it's not because of them, it has to be because of me. And don't get me wrong, there's people that'll be like, it's you. And then if you show up in love, they'll be like, no, it's you. Then they might keep pointing for a while, but at a certain point, they get tired of pointing and they realize, oh my gosh, it must be me. This is what it means to be a teacher. Now, there's this next section right here says that the idea of separation can be given away, just as the idea of unity can. Either way, the idea will be strengthened in the mind of the giver. Further, if the person to whom you give it accepts it as his, he reinforces it in your mind and thus increases it. If you can accept the concept that the world is one of ideas, the whole belief in the false association with the ego makes between giving and losing is gone. Okay, that one's a little bit long, but this is the entire premise of how in giving you receive. So it's saying that the world is just made up of ideas. The world is made up of love ideas, and the world is made up of separation ideas. Separation ideas enforce the idea of the ego saying, oh my gosh, if you give something away, you're losing. If I give this to you, then I have less energy, I have less capacity, I have less resources. But this is saying that the world is just ideas. And an idea never leaves its source. When I share an idea, it strengthens it within me. Okay, I want to make this crystal clear for you guys. I want you to imagine right now that we have two pathways from our brain going out both of our eyes. Let's say one pathway goes out the right eye, one pathway goes out the left eye. Let's say the left eye is the love eye, the right eye is the separation eye. Okay, when I share an idea of love, I'm sharing this idea to you right now. I'm talking to you guys about how love is the whole world. I'm sharing this idea verbally. I am strengthening that pathway of love. This pathway changes my perception. When I deepen the grooves of this pathway, I see more love. Because it's literally, this idea comes from my brain, moves through me. It moves through that pathway, strengthening the grooves of it. Anytime I say, oh my God, like, I can't believe she would wear that. Strengthening separation. Anytime I'm like, wow, you look so beautiful today. Strengthening love. Anytime I show up into a conversation with just a soft heart and an open body, even if I'm not saying any words at all, I'm strengthening in love. Anytime I choose to see the soul within someone, despite their evil actions, strengthening in love. And what begins to happen is our brain changes. Our mind changes so that we see more and more and more love all around us. It's like, I don't know if you guys have ever experienced this. I live in Southern California, so I feel like I experience it a lot, but like there's a lot of what I would like to call like fried people. This could either be because of drugs or it could be like surfing a lot. Honestly, I see it in both of those two categories. But it's someone who's just like, yeah, dude, everything's just quite all right, and like they have just like, and I'm like, how? And it kind of just works out for them. Like, maybe they don't have like the best living situation, but they're just like really like they're extremely lucky. Like things just work out for them. And I would always be like, how? Like, they're not working as hard as I am. They're not like doing all this stuff that I'm doing. How does it just work out for them? And I get so frustrated. And it's like, they just have that perception of reality. They believe that everything's just gonna be all right. Like truly, they believe it, and so it is. They've strengthened that love pathway in their mind. And it's really like, this is what it means to teach. To teach is just to strengthen that perception in your mind. And one of my favorite ways recently to come back to love again, like remembering it's sometimes it's so hard when we're in our own minds and like fear this, fear that. What if this doesn't work? What if that doesn't work out? And you think, oh, I shouldn't be thinking this. Well, you're just thinking about yourself. When you're just thinking about yourself, you're like, yeah. I'll get to love later. Right now I have stuff to do. Right now I have stuff to worry about. When you take that moment to bless someone else, you know what? Like maybe I can't bless myself right now, but I can bless someone else. I can think of that person in my life who's really going through it, and I can imagine love pouring into them from the top down and seeing their life blessed. All of a sudden, I imagine it like I cannot, it is impossible for me to bless another, to love another, unless it floods my entire system first. It has to move through my entire body, my heart, and my mind in order to give it to someone else. And every single time, it's like going to the gym, lifting weights. Every single time I do it, I'm strengthening that muscle. I'm strengthening that muscle. And the beautiful thing is, like, there's so many ways to strengthen this muscle. You can do it through gratitude. You could do it through blessing others. You could do it through finding why today's the best day ever. You can do it through sending a text to someone you love. You could do it by noticing how beautiful nature is around you. Like there are so many ways to strengthen this love muscle. And that is literally our only responsibility. And in doing so, the beautiful thing about this is like neurologically, it literally gives you oxytocin that floods your body. It gives you this dopamine surge. It changes the chemistry in your body, and it literally makes you happy. And when it literally makes you happy, it also begins to activate the parts of your mind that directly connect you to source. So then creative ideas flood in, or opportunities begin to present themselves, because you don't get what you want, you get what you are. And if you are grateful, if you are happy, you begin to attract opportunities directly to you that would make you more grateful and more happy. The sentence right here says, to him, getting is meaningless and giving is all. Having everything, the soul holds everything by giving it, and thus creates as the Father created. This one is like a really big differentiator between like what is the, as a previous manifestation coach, I've been curious to see like what is the difference between manifestation and then what A Course in Miracles is teaching. And there's so many similarities, but this is one of the things that I see as different. Manifestation is ultimately about getting something, right? And A Course in Miracles differentiates because it says getting is meaningless. Getting implies that you're lacking something. It says the soul holds everything. You have absolutely everything. And the way that you remember that you have everything is by giving, because it runs through your system. It strengthens that pathway. It makes you happy. And I think there's like a really big misconception here too, that like about around like boundaries and also only doing a certain amount of giving if you're going to receive X, Y, and Z. A very conditional giving. I can only give this much because then I need to make sure that I'm receiving what I'm worth. I've experienced a lot of that. And of course, Miracles is really changing things for me. And it's not to say like, don't charge. It's not to say like, don't have an exchange system for your value. But what it is to say is like, the way of the ego, the way that the world currently works is that when I give something, I am losing. So you need to pay me because I'm losing. And Course in Miracles is like, no, when you give, you gain. And this has been blowing my mind recently, because it's like, why am I withholding anything? Why wouldn't I just like teach and give my love so freely and so effortlessly? And then you see like the people that I look up to, the people that are like, mystics, or like really like share their love with the world. They did not give conditionally. They were just inspired to give, and so they did. And then life began to move and work through them because they were their own fueling source. They recognize that in giving, I receive. In giving, I receive. And I think that's like, if we want to experience joy, true joy, the way that A Course in Miracles describes it, like wiring this in at our core. In giving, I receive. Because now nothing is energy expending, right? It's so easy to think we have limited capacity, we have limited energy. We get energy from taking care of ourselves, from going to sleep, and from eating food, and maybe like nurturing and being around others. And this says, like, hey, your energy is infinite. And actually, when you give it, you get more of it. But the caveat here, the reason why it gets so mistaken is because people hear in giving I receive, and they try to apply it in an egotistic way of like, okay, I don't really want to do this thing, but if I give it, then I should receive. And then the beginning of conditional giving happens where they go, okay, I'll give it away for free, but like, okay, God, like something cool better come back to me, right? And this is like, no. The giving has to be from the truth of you, the heart of you. And I know that all you guys have experiences too, where it's like you give a gift to someone or like you help someone, but it's because you genuinely want to versus like you feel like you have to. You genuinely want to, and then what happens is you feel energized by that interaction versus if you do something because you think, oh, I got that there. It's my in-law. I probably should do that, and then you do it, it does not feel as rewarding, right? So this is like inviting us to like wire in at our source that when we give, we receive so that we have an endless amount of energy and thus can experience more joy. Because truthfully, that it does take energy to experience joy, right? It's a lot of times it's like, ugh, I don't have enough energy to be happy right now. Like I'm so drained, I'm so tired. And the question is like, why is that really? Like, why is there no energy? And most of the time it's because we're taking action on things that we think we should do versus what we know we're being guided to do. This kind of leads me into our last little paragraph here. It says, decisions cannot be difficult. Oh my God, when I first heard that, I was like, oh, let's get into it. Because I was like, experience a huge lack of clarity. And it starts with decisions cannot be difficult. I'm like, perfect. Tell me how. Because this is obvious if you realize that you must already have made a decision not to be wholly joyous if that is how you feel. Therefore, the first step in the undoing is to recognize that you have actively decided wrongly, but can as actively decide otherwise. Be very firm with yourselves in this and keep yourselves fully aware of the fact that the undoing process, which does not come from you, is nevertheless within you because God placed it there. I'm just going to add that's the Holy Spirit that's being talked about right there. Your part is merely to return your thinking to the point at which the error was made and give it over to the atonement in peace. Say to yourself the following as sincerely as you can, remembering the Holy Spirit will respond fully to your slightest invitation. Okay, just brief summary here. Decisions cannot be difficult. If something is like, oh, I don't know which way to go, it's saying that it's obvious that sorry, let me read this. If you realize that you must already have made a decision not to be wholly joyous. Okay, so it's saying that the reason that you're feeling that indecisiveness essentially is because you've already made a decision to not be happy in this moment. You've reached a point where you started going down the direction of the ego who loves confusion, like we talked about before. And with confusion, then comes, oh my gosh, I don't know which way to go. I don't know what the decision is. So it's saying like, look, your mistake happened a long time ago when you decided not to be happy. And it's getting at like, it is really simple. You've made a decision to not be happy. Therefore, because you made that decision, you can make just the opposite decision. And it's really getting at like, hey, you had the authority to make that wrong decision, which means you also have the authority to make the other decision. Like really empowering us, we can decide otherwise. And then also letting us know that the Holy Spirit does the work for us. We don't have to make it happen. We don't have to like force joy. Like, oh, I'm just gonna make myself happy. It's like, it's not in that way. The Holy Spirit goes, no, Just give it to me, say these words, and I'll do the rest. And then gonna end on this final sort of prayer, kind of just like words to say, because I think it's very, obviously you can follow this or you can make your own iteration of it. But so often we're in that place where like, oh my gosh, I'm spiraling right now. I don't want to be here. How do I get out of this? And this is the answer to that. It says, say these words: I must have decided wrongly because I am not at peace. I made the decision myself, and I can also decide otherwise. I will to decide otherwise because I want to be at peace. I do not feel guilty because the Holy Spirit will undo all of the consequences of my wrong decision if I will let Him. I will to let Him by allowing Him to decide for God for me. I think it's nice to have like a step-by-step protocol sometimes, like, all right, I'm not where I want to be. And also like knowing A Course in Miracles works for so many people, hundreds of thousands of people at this point. Um, this prayer, the saying is scripted word for word to allow us to return to, or to make some version of it ourselves, to remember, oh yeah, I don't have to make myself happy. It is my natural state. I can allow the Holy Spirit to get me there. Alrighty, guys. That's all I have as far as the lesson goes today. I just want to like really sum it up though with the inspiration and excitement to return to joy. That's something that I think I like was over spiritualizing life for a little bit there and feeling like I had to be like a master at it. And I got to this and I was like, oh, wait, it's just to be happy. And I realized like I hadn't been, going on my walks, and I hadn't been exercising and getting enough sunshine. And there are things that very physically, you know, in this human body of ours gives us dopamine and serotonin and oxytocin. So I've just been prioritizing like actually doing things that chemically change my brain, and it's been working. And I'm like, oh my goodness, it really is so simple. Like, be happy, and then the rest shapes itself. Something that I'm experiencing very truly is that part of my brain being connected to source, getting these ideas coming in, not because I'm like, okay, I have to think about what it is, what's the correct next step, what would the Holy Spirit do. I'm not even necessarily going in that direction. I'm just like being happy. I'm just choosing happiness, choosing joy, choosing to see the beauty all around me. And inspiration comes and clarity comes as a natural byproduct of that. Um, so I just want to invite all of you guys to make it really simple. Like, literally, what makes you happy? Is it like going outside, or is it being with friends? Is it eating your favorite sweet treat? What makes you happy? And giving yourself the opportunity to experience that. Like, what would it be to, wake up every day, best day ever, and like train your brains in that same way. Alrighty, guys. Thanks for listening in. I want to open up the floor now for conversation. If anyone has any questions, or just commentary.